Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing. Is anybody out there? uh, hey Laura, welcome to the stream. Is the sound okay? I tried to get it resolved before I started. Hey Phil Emerson, welcome to the stream. Thanks, Laura. It's always hard for me to tell. This program that I run my live streams. Hey Doug of the North, welcome to the stream, man. Hey Lumpy Dog, in the house. Welcome, you guys. I'm going to talk about something today that I know nothing about, which will cheer many of you, I'm sure. Let's see. Of course, I should have done this to begin with, but I'm looking for a website. And yeah, it's a great opening line for me. What are you singing about, Smokey? Sorry, I'm typing in a URL, guys. Okay. You know that I am always singing the praises of... Hey Heather, welcome to the stream. Hey JW Aquarium, welcome Aquariums, welcome to the stream. You guys know that I'm always singing the praises of small publications and books, magazines, house organs. I'm always trying to get you guys involved with places where you can have information at your fingertips, literally. My wife is subscribed to The Aquatic Gardener, and I am not, because it wouldn't do me any good, really. I try to read it and try to, hey Dank Tanks, welcome to the stream. I try my best to gain what little insight I can from people like Diana Wallstead and magazines like The Aquatic Gardener. It's a very small publication, the Journal of the Aquatic Gardeners Association. And I think it's kind of little known. I think that many of you might find it interesting. You have to pay, of course. It's not a free thing. But I think you get your money's worth. In this issue, this is volume 31, November 1st, January through March 2018. And it just came in the mail in the last couple of days. You've got the listings are from the President Species Spotlight. And of course, the Species Spotlight in this case is Rachel O'Leary. And she does stuff on the black neon tetras. That's her Species Spotlight for this episode. Laura is saying hi to you, honey.
Oh, hello.
I think I'm leaned out of your way, aren't I?
Hello, everybody.
She is here and doing well. Then you've got articles on the aquatic experience, the pictures of the setups of the different planted tanks that were in the aquatic experience. Unfortunately, I'm not in there anywhere, but I can show you a few of the pictures. I don't want to delve too deeply into the magazine because it's just out, and I'm sure I'll get copyright violations if I go too far. On Par is one of the article. Great Aqua Shops, 2017 AG International Aquascaping Contest results. Ranunculus linguea.
That's the common buttercup.
My wife says that's the common buttercup, which I was not aware of, because once again I'm talking to you about things I know nothing about. Sozo Haisoku of an Iwagami layout with Ryu stones. The 2017 Aquatic Experience Live Aquascape Contest. Meet the AGA, David Lass, and Barclaya Longfolia. And the cover is an aquascape by Liu Yang at the 2017 AGA International Aquascaping Contest. Award winner. And I'll show you the front of the magazine again, so that you can once again look at that very nice thing. 2 issues came at the same time, 30 and 31. That's October through December 2017 and January through March 2018. So it may be a little irregular coming to you, and you know there is expense involved. But I just want you guys to understand that there are publications out there. Hey, Dion 26, welcome, man. Hadn't seen you in a while. Welcome to the stream, Dion. How's Dion doing? Anyway, I suggest strongly that you go to their website. Hey, Biggies, welcome to the stream. I typed in the URL there, and I suggest that you guys go check out the Aquatic Gardener as a house organ for the Aquatic Gardeners Association. And this is a national group. Hey, down the wormhole, welcome to the stream. Lumpy Dog says common names for the win. I'm not impressed by Latin and Greek. The goal of communication is to effectively transfer information from one to another. And while I agree with you mostly, Lumpy, I also disagree with you in the sense that the Latin names allow for a commonality across the world so that we all can, whatever our language happens to be, we can all look to the Latin for derivations, for why things are named as they are. You can break down the Latin and figure out a lot of times why something's named like it is, especially our fish. Hey, fish man, welcome to the stream. Dion says Fishman is a great fish keeper, and I will take his word on it. Dion's a good guy. If anyone here in the stream doesn't recognize anyone else here in the stream, I strongly suggest that you go look up their pages and see what their output is. If they are new and don't have any output, You might encourage them somewhat to make output of their own. And I would suggest to each of you that is new and does not have content that just do it. Just go for it and just do it. It's I'm on episode 57 of the Bob Show here, and I still know nothing about putting out web content. I still know nothing about video. I still know nothing about photography, but I'm learning. I'm forcing myself into a situation where I slowly am gathering the ability to try to do what I think I should do and to try to improve my quality in such a way that I'm worthy of some of your attention throughout the week, throughout the month, and on Saturday. Aha, Dion's calling out Dank Tanks, saying he better give us an update. Hey, Flynn's Fish Forum, welcome to the stream. How's Flynn doing today? I'm serious when I say I don't know about being the father. I might be the crazy bearded uncle, maybe. But thanks, Dion. And Dion says, yeah, yes, there's some really great channels here. I watch them all. Flynn, I'm doing fine, and my wife is here behind me on her computer, and she is doing fine too. We're genuinely happy that winter is almost over. We had some snow and ice this week. Yeah, Dion, I am the crazy, cool, loving unk. I honestly have no interest in what's the word I want to use? Self promotion in doing these these. I honestly have no desire to make money off of any of these things. And so what I am trying to do is give some people the benefit of my little knowledge that I have of this hobby, and hopefully pass on to them some idea of my sense of what real fish keeping is, how you gain skills to raise your ability. And my interest is in your fish thriving so that you enjoy your hobby and that this fish keeping hobby can stretch out in front of us so new people can come along and gain all these skills and spend decades doing it and pass it on to younger people. Hey, Danny's Aquariums, welcome to the stream, man. Doug says that I'm the king of the old school fish keeping, rocking it, but I'm not. I'm here to tell you that there are people that I look up to who are much more of experts, much more of people you should dote on their every word. Go look up Gapote Mel, go look up Ted Judy, go look up Eric Bodrock, go look up any number of people that are in this hobby that have been doing it for decades and decades and decades and decades on a much higher level than I ever did. People that Rusty Wessel, people that I have studied and followed, Heiko Blair. I could list you people that make me look like a panty waist in this hobby. I just happen to be the loudest mouth talking about it on YouTube. So don't don't by any stretch of the imagination make me out to be some kind of great hero. I am not. I'm just a hobbyist like you guys are. The only difference is I've been doing it a lot of years. And some of you haven't been doing it a lot of years. So I have, Dank Tank says he's getting new frogs this week, so be on the lookout. I'm looking forward to those, Danks. Yes, I am just a Pacers fan. That's what I am. We lost to Toronto this week. If we hadn't had so many injuries, we would have won. And for those of you that wonder why my content has been so sporadic this last 71 games, you'll be happy to know that the season is winding down to a close. And after the playoffs, well, and after March Madness, yeah, Danks, I know about pain. And being a Knicks fan has been very painful for quite a while now. Maybe the worm has turned lately with the last couple of seasons that you guys have gone through. Maybe things are going to start looking up for Knicks. And if you don't know, people that don't follow the NBA, the Knicks and the Pacers are huge enemies. But I love Dank Tanks anyway, even if he is a fan. Okay, so let's get back to fish. If you guys got any questions, I can't really answer Dank Tank's frog questions because I've never kept frogs. I've always wondered about that, and my wife will probably get to a paludarium keeping before I will because she is so interested in plants. Dion, I was a Cowboys fan when it was good to be a Cowboys fan. When they won too. I lived in Dallas for 10 years, Dion. Well, I say Dallas. I lived in Richardson and Plano for 10 years. Or more, actually. And Fishman is asking me how goes the trip planning. The trip planning is underway and in full swing. I've got my passport that I need to get renewed. You can see a picture of me long ago when I worked for someone and had short hair and a beard. But this passport is expired and I've got all the stuff I need now to send it in. So I'm working on passport next. Then I'm going to try to get all my paperwork filled out and into Michael Barber. All the signings and the basically saying I won't sue them if a crocodile eats me while we're going downriver. All that stuff out of the way, and then I'm going to start trying to get my shots. My wife is cautioning me to not get all my shots all at once. That at my age and in my condition, I'll probably die before I make the trip. Hey, Island Queen, welcome to the stream. I know the pain. It will be... hang on. Let me look up my itinerary again. I am leaving Friday, July 13th. Uh-oh. Friday the 13th is when I leave. I just now realized that. Oh my God. And I will be getting back July 23rd. I have a 17-hour layover in Newark, New Jersey on the way back. And I have a looks like about a 7-hour layover in Lima, Peru when I get down there. Fishman says, Dion, got to love Deb. Deb is awesome. Anybody that doesn't know who Deb Tim is needs to go look up her stuff. She is doing yeoman's work. I just wish her tanks weren't so clean. I'd like to see a little mom in one of her tanks just one time, because I think her fish would be happier that way. The babies and stuff like that eat off of mom, so you can't change a leopard's spots though, and Deb is obviously a fastidious housekeeper, so her tanks will probably always be scrubbed clean to the max. And Dank Tank says, Dwayne, stop hating. I'm not hating on Deb Tim. I have been one of Deb Tim's biggest fans since the very beginning. I've spent a great deal of time talking to her back channel. I've spent a great deal of time talking for her up front. Deb Tim is wonderful. She has learned, besides you, Dion, in the fish fam, to my knowledge, she has probably learned as much as fast as possible. And Dion, you've come a huge long way since you started, man. And I applaud you, and I have been trying to applaud you all along for your making mistakes, and then when told about them, changing them up and making it. Deb keeps some wonderful fish. I'm jealous of how good she is at breeding fish. My gosh, she's always got new babies. She sells them back to the store. She raises them up, sells them back to the store, goes and gets new fish. Yep, Dion, I've tried. I mean, basketball season has knocked me out of a lot of my YouTube watching. Yep, he won't forget to turn that egg tumbler on, will he, Dags? I'm laughing, Dion, but I'm laughing with you, baby. I'm not laughing at you. Believe me, if you go look at the last time I tried to put together an egg tumbler, you will find me forgetting to turn the right valve on and blowing the eggs right out of the top of my tumbler. Okay, Dion, we're moving past the day you almost died. But people, we can commiserate with each other over having bad times and good times in this hobby. That's what community is. One of us has a problem, and the rest of us try to commiserate with them, say, yeah, you should have seen the time I did something, something, or to help them out by giving them good advice. It may be anecdotal advice. It may be stuff that's worked for us that may not work for them. But all of these things together will settle into someone's mind who is trying to learn how to get better at what they're doing, and just the idea that there's someone out there that knows your pain, that understands exactly what happened, that has experienced the same thing themselves, We've all been through it. Island Queen says we all have bad days. Yeah, we have all had bad days in the hobby. And believe me, I've had some seriously bad days that, they make you feel so bad that you really think about just chucking it all and getting out of the hobby. But if you don't, if you struggle to use that as a learning experience, if you struggle to get better at what you're trying to do, to learn from your mistake, and to take your game to the next level, then your hobby becomes much more full. It becomes much more deep. You've gained an ability to work your way through a really tough patch, and the next time you hit a tough patch, your mind will say, well, the last time something like this happened, it really wasn't as bad as we thought it was going to be. Lumpy Dog says most of my bad days have been, in hindsight, all my fault. Yeah. Knock on wood on that one, Lumpy, because you're right. It's very easy to let things slip. It's very easy to say, oh my gosh, I've got my schedule is so busy this week, I'm going to let the fish stuff all go. Or we impulse buy and don't have any room for quarantine and throw the fish in with the rest of our fish, and suddenly we've got a full-blown situation on our hands. All of us have been through it. All of us have been through the impulse buy, the disease, the quarantine that either didn't work or wasn't kept up long enough, that caused a bunch of other fish to get sick and die. These fish are in our care. They depend on us to keep them thriving, or at least keep them alive. Island Queen says heater overheats and kill your fish in a bad day. Yeah. Dion says I brought all my corals back to life. That fat again. Am happy. That's nice, Dion. It's good to see that. You're in an area that I can't help you with there. You've surpassed me. The student has surpassed the teacher. I've always been scared to death of salt tanks. I learned it long ago when a salt setup cost about 30 times what a freshwater setup, and I decided way back then I was going to concentrate on freshwater stuff. And also back in the day, no one could breed saltfish in a tank. There wasn't enough skill, there wasn't enough knowledge. People literally could not breed anything in a salt tank. And so what that meant was that every fish that came in was wild caught, and that it was depleting the stocks of wild caught fish. Part of what our hobby brings that is so important is that there are scientists and there are stars in our hobby that are excellent breeders, excellent people that can stretch the boundaries, add new species to the breeding situation. But there are so many species, and if just one breeder breeds them, then the bloodline gets so thinned down that they have to keep adding wild-caught stock to their bloodline to keep it from thinning down. And the scientists can only have so many tanks. But us hobbyists, we can have so many more tanks because there are so many more watching. There are so many more of us to have tanks. If 5 million hobbyists have 2 tanks each, that's 10 million more tanks with the potential to breed, with the potential to keep species alive that are dying in the wild. It's our sheer numbers as raw hobbyists that can aid scientists and breeders that are excellent at what they do in keeping species alive, in keeping different bloodlines alive, and we add to the scientific knowledge by the scientists, by the community, by the whole of fish keeping, by our ability to think outside the box and to do something different that anyone else has done before, even if it's by mistake. We, as the mass of hobbyists, might put something in the tank that no one has ever put in that tank with that species again before, and suddenly that species is breeding. That little kernel of knowledge gets pushed into the general community knowledge, and people that couldn't breed that fish before are suddenly able to breed that fish. There's been countless cases where people have had sand substrate and couldn't get different kinds of fish to breed, but if they added just the right size gravel to that tank of the right coloration and the right type, those fish suddenly begin to breed. They begin building pits and nests with those little pieces of gravel and begin to breed, and that knowledge gets passed on into the general hobby of all hobbyists and scientists and experts, and suddenly a breed is now available homebred in the hobby. And that's a great thing. You know, scientists may well say things like, oh, well, hobbyists just, they're just noobs. They don't know what they're doing. But sometimes those noobs, those people that had their first tank and bought a fish they liked, thanks for stopping by, fish man. Have a good supper, man. People that just bought their first tank and bought a fish that they liked, and their little girl wants them to put a plastic alligator in the tank, and that plastic alligator happens to be, its mouth open happens to be the perfect size cave for those fish to use to breed. That kind of stuff is priceless because no one in the hobby thought about it before then, and suddenly these fish are breeding, and if the keeper can keep them alive long enough to get them into the general hobby, someone with real skill can gain that piece of knowledge about the size and depth of the cave needed to make them breed, and suddenly we have a new species in our hobby that is being tank bred, tank raised, and sold back into the hobby, which takes pressure off the wild populations. And believe me, people, pretty soon we are not going to be able to get some of these fish from the wild anymore. The pollution, the all that kind of stuff that's going on in the world, the overpopulation, the strip mining that runs raw mud through streams and lakes and rivers, is going to kill off that wild population, and we have to keep them alive in our home tanks and learn how to breed them for the species to survive. Okay, end of rant. Dion said, I am doing some research on this global warmings and heat rays from the sun is killing millions of corals. They found with bone-like corals, and it's not good for the marine ecosystem. Geez, Dion, don't get me started, buddy. This is a topic that we could spend the next 5 years talking about. The trouble is that us talking about it only does so much good. And what we need to be doing is voting in such a way that the people in charge can no longer ignore the damage that's being done to the environment. Doug says work is calling. Thanks for dropping by, Doug. It's always a pleasure to have you in the stream, man. And hug your better half for me. She is the hostess with the mostest mod on YouTube. But it's... You guys know that I try my best not to get political on this stream, that I try to avoid political talk, that I try to let politics be something outside of fish keeping. A lot of the people that are in our hobby are people with a great deal of money, because a lot of our hobby requires a great deal of money to keep up and run with. And a lot of those people that have that much money are Republicans. And I'm really not going to go there, but I'm going to tell you that one party could give a shit about environmental destruction, and one party at least gives lip service to giving a shit about environmental destruction. And I will just leave it there. I really don't want to offend people that are part of the fish hobby that I strongly support, and I'm not really interested in offending them and making them hate me or making them never watch a stream or a video of mine again. I mean, I think that might be true anyway, because it's not real. Joel, it's not really important that we know who they all are. It's not a thing of names. I mean, one of the things that has gone on with this social media invasion by Russia into the United States social media, and I'm sure it's occurring all across the world. One of the things that Russia is trying to do with these trolls and with these people that come down on both sides of hot button issues and scream and rant and rave. Hey, Jenna, welcome to the stream. Haven't seen you in a while, Jenna. One of the things that they are trying to do is to get the people in different countries at each other's throats over stupid little issues that don't amount to a hill of beans, but they want to sow chaos, they want to sow hatred, they want us to distrust our governmental organizations, they want to break down the foundations of democratic governments and organizations. Hey, Angelo's Fish Tanks, welcome to the stream. I've been fine. I hope you've been fine too. So what I'm trying to say here with this little way off topic segue is that hatred between people that are really all in the same boat, that if we hate each other over some issue that has been blown way up out of proportion by some outside source, then the whole thing falls apart. And I am not in any way interested in raising issues in such a way to point fingers and vilify other members of our hobby in such a way that they don't feel like participating, that they feel like they need to draw back into their own little circles. I mean, people face it. Politics is part of fish keeping. There is politics in every club. There is politics at every event. There is politics in every magazine and every book and every house organ that you read. So we have to accept a certain amount of politics in our hobby because people can't help it. They have an axe to grind, just like me having an axe to grind sometimes. It strays into politics. The politics stray into our way of thinking. We can't keep politics out of our hobby. What we can do is keep hatred or dislike or distrust out of the politics in our hobby so that we accept each other as flawed human beings because we are all flawed human beings, except maybe dank tanks. I've really not found many flaws in dank tanks.
Enough politics, honey. Just say give to the Nature Conservancy.
Yeah, my wife is reminding me that what I really need to say is support nature conservancies everywhere that you can. Dion says, Jenna Tucker, it's a cold day, but I'm going to the movies with wife tonight. What movie are you going to see, Dion? Inquiring minds want to know. Jenna, thank you so much for stopping by. We're winding down on the hour here pretty quickly. I started a little early, so Angelo's fish tank says, thanks, Dion. I just looked at him and he's looking even better. More yellow coming out on fins and more blue towards his face. I'm going to guess that's an African cichlid, but I suppose I could be wrong. So if you guys have any direct questions to me, maybe some that I've missed while I was ranting and raving about topics I want to rant and rave about, Dion keeps poking me with these topics that are Dion's going to see the Black Panther. Dion, I have heard that that movie is excellent. I've heard that it is empowering to African Americans. I have heard that it is also very empowering to women, and I applaud and support both those things. I think it's great that different segments of our society are getting new heroes and heroes that represent them in a very excellent way. Angelo says, yes, Dwayne, it's Fry I have growing out. I don't know who the dad is. Excited to find out. Yeah, we've actually got some like that ourselves, Angelo. I don't know if you've noticed in our streams and our videos, but we have a whole group, like 14 or 15 Gorder River fry babies that are now sub-adults that are just starting to get their markings. And we don't know whether they are pure Gorder Rivers or whether they are hybrids. So we're watching with bated breath as they grow out. I need to get a video out on those 2 tanks with some of the fish that we got in from Lucas. I've been remiss in getting them out. I'll try to do that maybe before the week starts. Maybe tomorrow I can get them out. So if you guys have any last second topics to bring up, I am all ears and waiting to hear from you. Once again, I always appreciate everyone showing up.
Did you tell them we got a bunch of RU2s and we're getting ready to breed them?
Yes,
Okay.
they know. Or at least they know if they've been following the videos. You want to set for a second and talk about talk about stuff and close it out. There's about 16 minutes left. Heather, thank you so much. Dion, there's no learning how to do it, man. You just do it. That's what it is. Yes, Angelo, and my wife will sit in the chair momentarily and give you some explanation.
Explanation
The
for what?
75 is in
Yeah.
the background.
Oh, is it?
And that's video that I took not long ago.
Uh-huh. And what did Dion, what was his question?
I think it was somebody else. You'll have to look at
Oh. Hello, everybody. I have to get close to the screen here to read. Learn how to do a live stream. Oh, I don't know. You'll have to ask Dwayne that. Love you. Take care of Linda. Okay, so hello, Fish Tropic. And thank you, Angelo, for greeting me. One thing I wanted to talk about briefly is, oh gosh, my hair looks terrible. Oh well, never mind. One thing I wanted to talk about, I've been really working on the little fish tank with my RU2s. I have a case of green algae, the long green hair algae that's wanting to start in that fish tank, and I'm just picking it every day, trying to keep it down. I know that once it starts, there's really no getting rid of it. Unless you do several days of darkness in the tank, which I don't want to do because I'm trying to get my fish up to in their best shape and breeding capacity. So my husband suggested that we put in something that eats hair algae, and for those of you who don't know, is it guppies? I don't know if it's guppies or if it's endlers. I think it's endlers, and maybe both of them do, but they do eat hair algae. They don't, they're little bitty fish, so they don't eat a whole lot of it, but they do help mow it down a little bit. And I'm looking for some other creatures that might eat hair algae, so if you know of them, I'm very anxious to hear about it. How have the rest of you had hair algae, and how did you deal with it? I would be interested in knowing that too. We also have some real good growth on, I planted some bronze, I don't know why I get on here and talk about this. When I need the names of these plants, I can't even think of them. They're the kind of plants that you don't plant their roots, you just put their roots between the rocks, and I don't know, I should probably drop this topic right now. Oh, Angelo says his pleco seems to eat hair algae. You know what, I've got a teeny weeny pleco about this big in there, but maybe I should get a bigger one, a good bristle nose in there to eat some of that hair algae. Lucas gave me a little bitty one when we went to his place and got our RU2s, and it's a cute little thing. Okay, so kill the lights and dose with Excel. Okay, that's one way. Down the wormhole says some of my fish love hair algae. Well, tell me what kind of fish they are. Let's see, Dean, my hair algae, I'm being removed with a toothbrush and at water changes. I will add some Phosphogard, okay, and a piece of polyfilter, okay. It really hasn't hurt the tank so far. I've kept on top of it, but you know, I don't like the look of it in the tank. It makes this big ball of morass that sometimes the bigger fish get caught in. And I did have a big fat breeding female endler who we were really waiting, you know, she was gonna give birth any day, and she got caught in some of the hair algae in the endler tank, and she died. She couldn't get out, and I'm not sure exactly what happened to her, but I found her dead, all tangled up in the hair algae. So that was a sad thing. Okay, let's see. Down the wormhole says Amicus Blendin. Sorry, used to have a lot in the tank. Surprised me too. Okay. That's a good piece of advice. Yeah, Dion says he doesn't like the look of hair algae either. And some people do. And in some cases, it's good to raise fry in hair algae because the bigger fish can't get to them. And so in some cases, it's a good thing to have. In fact, on a live feed once from Lucas, he had a big bunch in his tank and he was complaining about it. And one of the people who was in the chat room said that could she buy some from him? And he said, no, I'm not going to sell you hair algae. It's like selling you a great big problem. And it was gallant of him not to sell it to her, I think, even though she wanted some. It's much better if you can raise your babies in some sort of floating greenery that doesn't grow so fast and take over your tank and your ecosystem. That's mainly what I worry about, is it taking over the ecosystem and using so much of the gases in the water that the fish really need to thrive. I mean, that algae will just suck up oxygen and carbon dioxide at a killer rate and just really take over. So I think that's something that we universally don't want, except for maybe the one lady that was in the chat room. Hair algae being removed with a toothbrush. Okay, well, thank you for your suggestions. I will try some of those. I have tried a toothbrush actually, and it did work pretty well. But then I had to take the big chunk of hair algae and all the little bitty floating plants that were with it, sit down, and took me almost all of a Saturday to separate out the plants that I wanted and get rid of the algae. So it's just part of fish keeping, I think. But when you can get rid of it, it's a good thing to do. Okay, so anybody else raising Arutus, or am I the only one in the country besides Lucas? I know they're very rare, and they're beautiful, cute little fish. They're so showy. They have all these funny little red fins on their head that they use to signal with and do their mating dances and scare each other off with, and they're so pretty, and I'm real excited about breeding them. And I saw one of the females doing a breeding dance just the other day, so I'm excited. Okay, not the Geordie Gamer. I know this is unrelated, but does anyone know where I can get a cheap and quite large fish tank? Because I need another one because my angelfish are outgrowing my tank.
Look on Craigslist.
Look on your local Craigslist.
Look in newspapers. Look in
newspapers, and go dumpster diving behind your local Costco, Petco, Feeder Supply, Kmart, Walmart, and all those places. In fact, I know a couple of fish keepers that get all their fish tanks from dumpster diving. So one just has to go out of style or be the last one in stock, and they just throw it out. So I would encourage dumpster diving by all of us, because it is kind of like recycling and saves space in our landfills. Used ads in Craigslist. Hi JH Aquatics, welcome to the stream. I'm Mrs. Dwain, and I'm here today just helping out with the end of the show. We're talking about where's a good...
Hey Joseph, welcome to the stream, man. That's JH. That's Fish Fam News.
Oh, that's Fish Fam News. Hi.
He's supposed to go to Peru with us.
Oh, fantastic. Going to Peru. I wish I was going to Peru, and I actually had the opportunity to go. Dwayne wanted me to go too, but I'll tell you what, my idea of camping is sitting by the pool with a tall glass of Coke and, you know, living out in the sticks and for a week and climbing high mountains and diving in deep streams. Sorry, it's just not for this arthritic old gal. So I will stay here and take care of the fish and the dogs and the cats. And Dwayne can go and have a good time. I'm hoping that everybody that goes has a wonderful time and has some really good stories when they get back. Okay, Soapbox Debris. Hi there, Soapbox Debris. Phil. Oh, Phil Emerson. Hi, Phil. I know, can't wait to see content from Peru. Yeah, that's going to be great, isn't it? Jordy Gamer just put a post in your local Facebook trading group for your area. Oh, that was a nice thing to do. Thank you. Thank you very much. Hi, Phil. Nice to see you here.
You don't want to get on camera.
Do you want to finish this out,
Sure,
Dwayne?
alright.
Okay, I'm going to turn you back over to the real fish keeper here, and let him chat with you. Smokey, have I seen Smokey lately?
No, he didn't want to stay in my arms long enough for me to show him.
Smokey. Hey, Smokey.
Oh, jeez.
Here's Smokey.
Here is Smokey. For those of you that have wanted to keep up with him, he's going to claw the crap out of me.
Okay. Put him down.
Joseph, I'm sorry that your internet is bad for you, man. But I'm really excited about spending a week with you in Peru, man. We met at Aquatic Experience, and I'm really looking forward to this Peru trip, and having you there will be wonderful, man. You should get some incredible footage. You need to Fish Fam interview Ian and Michael both. They're both wonderful fonts of knowledge about where we are going to be collecting fish and the local area and quarries and tetras in general, not to mention catfish. So, all right, guys, we're rounding up at the top of the hour. I once again want to thank you all for spending a little bit of your time with us. We are a group here, and I hope that we are all friends. Hey, Rob Hicks, welcome to the stream, man. So I hope that you guys have a good weekend. I hope that all of your fish keeping. JH Aquatics, Joseph says, I love being in the bush. Hey, Vinyl Richie, welcome to the stream, man. I've been loving your vinyl community video you've been putting out lately. So, guys, that's all right, Rob. You can watch it on the replay, man. I hope that we as a group have helped you if you had questions. If not, be sure to tune back in and ask the questions again until you get the answers you need, if possible. Down the Wormhole says, have a great weekend. Thanks for the stream, and right back at you. I've been watching your videos, Down the Wormhole. You've put out some wonderful content here lately. Heather says, thank you for the stream, Dwayne. You are most welcome, and I hope it's been worth you guys spending your time. And good luck with your fish keeping. Try to keep those fish thriving. Have a good weekend, folks.